Okay, this tutorial is going to look at brightness and contrast and exposure. Exposure is obviously something that can be controlled when you're taking the picture. Exposure is going to deal with a combination of your ISO, your aperture settings, and your shutter speeds. So with there is an option in Photoshop that allows you to change the exposure, but again, it's just kind of a slider bar option. Here I've got this image of garlic cloves that we took in the classroom, and I'm just going to click on the black and white circle, which is my image adjustment options, and I'm going to choose exposure. Here, if I move to the left, we know, or the right side is your highlights. Okay, so it's going to kind of overexpose this, making it very, very light. Okay, so this would be equivalent to if we had our ISO set really, really high with a lot of light. You could also take it to the left and underexpose it. And the underexposure would be like the equivalent of, you know, maybe you use too quick of a shutter speed, or you had your ISO turned way down and there wasn't enough light to compensate for that. So that would be one way that you can change your exposure in Photoshop if you wanted to, you know, bring it down a little or pull it up a little. I'm going to just cancel this out and leave it where we were. The other option that's kind of similar to that would be if you choose your brightness contrast. It's going to deal again with lighting. However, I really only mess around with my contrasts, and I usually will turn it up just to give myself a little bit more definition in my values. If you turn it down, it kind of takes away some of that definition. Here you can turn your brightness up, and that's going to look pretty similar to what we did with the overexposure and, you know, the underexposure. So those would be kind of equivalent in the way that that works. All right, and that's it for exposure and brightness and contrast. See if that will work with you. Maybe it's something you can add on to an additional change, like a black and white change. Maybe some of that exposure stuff will push your high keys to the next level.